Got a little Tennessee football to talk. Going to move on from conference realignment now and talk some Tennessee football. There was a story that came out over the weekend. Tennessee football does not have anybody on the list of top 50 PFF players entering 2023 in college football. No Vols. Not Joe Milton, not Squirrel White, not Dylan Sampson, not anybody. Not Cooper Mays, not Javonte Spraggins. They didn't have anybody make the list. On top of that, Action Network has broken down the drop in production per team, and it was analytically driven, and it showed that Tennessee has lost more production than any team in the SEC entering this year. So this is kind of a simple question. Are we undervaluing how much production Tennessee football has lost from last year? That's quite honestly a bit of a concern if you think about it. Hendon Hooker's gone. Jalen Hyatt's gone. Cedric Tillman's gone. It's very possible that Tennessee could be in real trouble this year, and we haven't thought about it. Because, again, they don't have any standout players. Now, we think Squirrel White will be in the top 50 by the end of the year. Hopefully, if you're a Tennessee fan, Joe Milton is in the top 50 by the end of the year. You want a couple of defensive guys to get in there maybe, but PFF is not some magazine. Every list they do is data-driven. And so it's legitimate for no Tennessee football player to be a top 50 PFF player. And when you combine that with the analytical approach to how much they have lost in terms of production, you see a real tangible issue there. And it doesn't seem like Tennessee fans or the community around Vol Nation is really paying attention to the drop in production. I'll give you one example of something it reminds me of. In basketball, in 2007-2008, Tennessee reached number one with Bruce Pearl, Chris Lofton, Tyler Smith, Wayne Chisholm, Juwan Smith, Ramar Smith, Jordan Howell, Duke Cruz, J.P. Prince. That was their best season in history. They won 31 games. They reached number one at one point, beat Memphis on the road in what was one of the greatest regular season games in college basketball history. Lost in the Sweet 16. That was Chris Lofton's testicular cancer year. They lost Chris Lofton, Juwan Smith, and Jordan Howell. But they added Scotty Hobson, a 5-star out of Kentucky. Ronaldo Woolridge was a 4-star who had committed. Cameron Tatum had been a redshirt who had come up and was expected to step in line. And leading scorer Tyler Smith was back. Looking at the potential and the talent, there was a belief that Tennessee would just pick up where it left off the year before. They didn't. They had a massive drop-off. Because no matter how good your talent is or your new talent or the new faces, the drop in production can't be undervalued. And Tennessee, while they have bodies, more bodies now probably than they had last year in terms of depth, they don't have the proven production. Joe Milton is still not proven like Hendon Hooker was going into last year. And also, by the way, Joe Milton is not proven like Hendon Hooker was going into 2021. I know Hendon Hooker did not win the starting job initially, but people forget this. Ask Virginia Tech. Go back to 2021. Ask Virginia Tech fans about Hendon Hooker and Michigan fans about Joe Milton. Virginia Tech fans were very upset to see Hendon Hooker go. They wanted Justin Fuente, their coach, fired for how he treated Hendon Hooker. Michigan fans were happy to see Joe Milton go. They were happy to see him gone. So that is a big issue. And we still don't have proof that Milton can offset the loss in production from Hendon Hooker. Everybody's going to bring up the Orange Bowl game and what he did in garbage time last year. Orange Bowl game is one game, and Clemson played a bare defense that game. They particularly tested him over the middle. And garbage time doesn't mean a lot when you look at the defense. Red Rider 69 says, don't think about what you lost. Think about what you gained. Don't engage in sour grapes. Okay, but what you lost matters. Drop in production is a big deal. One of Tennessee's biggest advantages last year was that they returned so much production, even though they had fewer bodies than a lot of other schools. That was one of the reasons they did go 11-2. So this is a real tangible concern. And Rocky.Tom is right. Clemson didn't get off the bus for that Orange Bowl game. They were not happy to be there. Travis says Michigan doesn't like running QBs. They've always been in love with that Brady type QB. Okay, but still, Joe Milton as a pocket does have to be able to throw from the pocket in Josh Heupel's system. And they did not like him at Michigan and how he threw from the pocket. And Tom's right. They had key players out. Dan says UT used 4 receivers all year. 2 of those are back. Score will plug into Hyatt spot. Running backs are going to be better. Quarterback is the question. Well, they really used 3. Yes, there was Cedric Tillman, Ramel Keaton, Brew McCoy, and Jalen Hyatt. But Cedric Tillman was hurt half the year, at which point you had Brew McCoy and Ramel Keaton. So that's why they really used 4. They want to use 3, if we're being honest. And yes, Brew McCoy being back is a huge deal. He's the best NFL prospect. Ramel Keaton on the other side is helpful. Squirrel White and Dante Thornton in the slot. I think they have the bodies. They don't have that extra tight end, so they're either going to have to put – right now it's just Jacob Warren. They don't have Darnell Wright at right tackle. That's the biggest loss possible. So Darnell Wright at right tackle, look, we're going to talk a little bit about the offensive line. They haven't found an adequate replacement for that yet. They thought Gerald Mincey would be the replacement for Darnell Wright. He's not been that. He hasn't lived up to it. They have issues and concerns at right tackle. We have Cooper Mays, who we're going to talk about, who has praised the play of the offensive line. And you'll see that on the interview that he did with us. But that does not mean everything he's saying is true. You're just naturally going to praise your team sometimes in practice. I will say that. And Gerald Mincey not taking over that right tackle role is a bit of a concern. Rocky.Tom says Joe is going to be this year what he always has had the potential to be. O-line will stay healthy. He's going to ball out, and either Keaton or McCoy will be Robert Meacham this year. Wow, that is a gigantic expectation. Robert Meacham, for those who don't remember, was the All-American in 2006, set the school record for receiving yards in a season. So, all right, Tom, that's pretty ambitious. I don't know if they will do that because I think they're going to spread the ball to those 2 wideouts. I think it's more likely, once again, you see one of the slot guys, either Squirrel White or Dante Thornton, be that. I could be wrong, though, because Brew McCoy is the best NFL draft prospect on this roster, bar none. Brew McCoy is the guy. If you were an NFL draft scout and you could pick one player from Tennessee this year, you would take Brew McCoy. It doesn't even matter what you need at that point. You take Brew McCoy. But it is a concern that Tennessee doesn't have any top 50 PFF players. Again, data-driven. And it's also a concern that Tennessee, according to Action Network, lost the most production of any team in the SEC. That stuff matters. The bodies are there. They're deeper, but losing this type of production is a big deal.